All right, now it's time to talk about Demons 2, which came out a year after in 1986. And this was once again directed by Lamberto Bava and produced by Dario Argento. And this is about demons in a apartment building this time instead of a movie theater. So it's the same concept, but different location, more set pieces, a little bit more of a bigger, production value to it. There's a lot more like action in this one than the first one, I think. And there's more demons, but to me, it's just not as good as the first one. This was my second time watch, and I will say that I liked it more on this viewing, but I just think it's because the first one's so amazing that your expectations going into the second one for the first time are high. You're expecting the same level of brutality and and fun, but while it's still fun, I don't think it's as fun, and I don't think it's anywhere near as gory. Which brings me to my first negative. My first dislike is that this movie, for some reason, they purposely decided to tone down the violence. Maybe they got backlash from part one, so they're like, okay, let's not do that again. Let's just focus on the demon effects and not the violence, which to me hurts this film. And once again, like part one, this one has this whole story going on outside of the building with a group of punks in a car driving around town like a maniac, and it's not interesting. I don't care about these characters. They're underdeveloped. You don't really give a shit about them at all. And by the time they reach this place, nothing happens. I swear to God, just like in part one, like, what happens to them? What do they do? I've seen the movie twice now. I couldn't have missed it both times. Like, do they ever turn into demons? Do they ever actually get inside the apartment? Do they do anything useful at all? Like, it's so pointless. And the final act of this movie was just a little underwhelming. Like, when it's just our main couple, just like part one, this whole section of the film is nothing compared to the first movie when it's just these two going down the building and then they're going next door to the TV station. The movie just gets convoluted. I don't understand what's happening, why certain things are happening. I just have more questions with this film, and it kind of bugged me. And just the last 15 minutes needed to be more exciting and more fun. I don't like the look of the demon baby in this one. They try to do what they did in part one again, and there's a lot of that in this movie where they take certain like shots and things from part one, they do it again. They take certain lines also and they do it again in this one, which is fine. I like that kind of stuff. But where they went wrong here is trying to recreate the demon coming out of the back in part one. In this one, we got a demon that's very small coming out of a child, and it looks really ridiculous. I don't like the look. Don't like that it's so damn small. It's goofy. The first one was never that goofy. This one takes it to a more goofy level that I don't like. And the sound of it, the screeching, it's just screeching for like 5 minutes straight, and it makes you just want to blow your own brains out. Why not make it look like the demon in part one? This is a direct continuation. It's supposed to be the same type of demons. Why can't it look like that demon that looked so awesome in part one? Why not make it look like that? Why not have it be normal size and not be some little baby thing? It's just a bad decision. It looks like a freaking ghoulie that didn't go to college. And this movie has some missed opportunities. Like, with all the violence, like I saw so many sequences where it's like, oh, that could have been something brutal. Like they could have did something extra violent there, but they just keep cutting away. But in this one, they have the dog have a transformation sequence, and that was pretty cool. The effects, seeing the dog attack its own owner, but then that's the end of it. It's like, why couldn't the owner and the dog be going around the apartment building after that, attacking people? I wanted to see Davey the dog more. But getting into what I like about this movie, first up, I like that there's some continuity here. They acknowledge that part one did happen. I'm not sure how many years later this is, but they talk about part one on the TV. There's like some kind of documentary talking about it. Like, how can we learn from our mistakes? How can we learn to stop them easier next time and stuff like that? And, you got Tony the Pimp back once again playing a different character. It's the same actor playing a different character. I like that they have the same guy doing his voice. The same guy dubs him in this one. I like the setting and all the different set pieces. With a setting like this, you can do so many different things. You're not just trapped in the movie theater anymore. You got the gym, you got the parking garage, you got the elevators, you got this and that. And they do play around with this setting and, really use it good. They actually showcase many different sets. Just like part one, this one has great cinematography, some cool shots, and they recreate the shot that was the poster for part one. They recreate that shot again in this one. So there's little callbacks to part one that I liked, and the music was just like part one, has lots of like 80s rock and roll, and it sounded pretty cool. And the demon effects are good. I don't think they're as good as part one, but in this one they added the veins showing up and pulsing. There's some pulsing effects and a little bit of stop motion at one point also. So the effects in this movie are good, but it just needed gore effects. Oh, and also the effect of the demon coming out of the TV, that looked pretty cool. I'm not sure how they did that, but it reminded me of like Videodrome. And I like that a kid turns into a demon in this movie. As soon as they showed the kid, I was like, oh no, here we go. A kid that's going to make it to the end because he's a kid. Kids are safe. They never die. Nope. This kid turns into a demon. So that was awesome. And there is some funny, laugh out loud, bad lines and bad like voiceover, like the dubbing of certain characters, like how they sound like these buff guys. One of them sounds like a fucking dork, and the other one just sounds like a complete moron. So final thoughts, this to me is a lesser version of part one, but it's still fun in a new setting and has a lot of cool set pieces, and it increases like the action and the amount of demons, but it just does not deliver on the gore and effects like part one. If this movie kept the gore of part one and had a more satisfying conclusion, a better fun third act, then this would rival the original. So when it comes to Demons 2, I'll give it 3.5 stars. All right, spoiler discussion. So in the opening, we start with some narration, and they're basically acknowledging that part one did happen. And at first, I thought what we were watching on the TVs was like some kind of reenactment, because they show these people on a Jeep, so it looks like you're watching the end of part one, but it's different actors, and the kid's not there anymore, and little Bob. But no, it's not a reenactment. It's just like some sequel they shot to the actual events of part one. So somebody like made a movie. I guess the Demons did. Maybe this is the Demons film. I don't know. The story is a little confusing. So yeah, this is, I guess, like some sequel to the actual events of part one that they're watching on TV. And who the hell leaves their like 6-year-old kid alone at night in the apartment like that? Like, these are terrible parents, and they deserve to die. But they don't. They never even make it back to the apartment. They just get in a car accident. This one guy gets on the phone and invites Jacob, Sally's like ex-boyfriend, to the party, and she like flips the fuck out. And so automatically you don't like her, and then she goes in her room. She's like hiding from her own birthday party for a good while, and no one seems to notice that she's gone, even up to the point when they're lighting candles for her to blow out. They light all the candles and they're like, oh hey, where's Sally? It's like, she's been gone for like a half hour. You're just now noticing that the birthday girl's not there? But the one guy who invited Jacob up, he gets sent outside to wait out there for Jacob to arrive, to tell him basically to fuck off. And he actually sits out there and waits all night, and it takes Jacob like over an hour to get there. He called him and was like, hey, can I come there? And he's like, yeah, sure, come on over. And then he's in his car with his pals, and it seems like they're driving all night. Like, how long does it take for him to get there? I'm not sure how much time's going by in between all these scenes, but it seems like by the time he got there, he was driving a good hour. Is it really worth it? Going to a birthday party? I'm not driving an hour to go to anyone's birthday party. So then we're introduced to Davey the dog, and when you first see him, the chick goes up to the door, looks out the hole, and it was like at that exact moment that Davey jumped up, I guess, but it looked like Davey was just standing there. And there's no way that's possible because Davey is a very small dog. So it was just, I guess, a coincidence that as soon as she looked through, that was the moment he was just like mid-air, he just jumped. I like that the movie that they're watching on the screen starts to mirror what's happening at the party, kind of similar to what happens in the first movie. And the demon comes out of the TV, attacks Sally, and for some reason they sing Happy Birthday 3 times in a row. Usually you just sing it once, but they just keep singing it on loop as she blows out the candles and turns into a demon. And when she turns into a demon, no, in the movie. So in the movie, when the demon is like resurrected and starts attacking, for some reason, the one guy yelled out, "Nice!" That is not what you would normally say in that situation. It was just so weird. Meanwhile, we got a pregnant couple, and the pregnant lady believes that if she doesn't go to Sally's birthday party and have a slice of cake, that could potentially give her unborn baby a birthmark. I'm not sure what book she's reading, but that sounds like a lot of bullshit. One thing that changes in this movie is the demons now have alien blood that's acidic and melts through the floors. And the layout, like where apartments are, seems to change. I swear. Like, I could be wrong, but I thought like this person's apartment was next to this person's, but then at some point it seems like this person's up here now on a different level. I could be wrong, but just it seemed like they were all on the same floor, but now this person's up here. And even though these people were over here, now they're over here. It was just all over the place. We get a tanning bed kill, and this guy's finger is like melting off. All the flesh is like melting off of his finger because of the acidic blood. And the way he says his line made me laugh. Like it was no big deal. Like he goes, "Yeah, I touched it. It burned." It's like, dude, your skin is melting off. It should hurt like hell. And he just goes up to this dude and he's like, "I touched it. It burned." It's like, you would be like, "Oh my God, it fucking melted my finger." Like that should be his reaction. Then Davey the dog turns into a demon. We get that teeth stuff happening again, like in part 1, the demon teeth pushing out the regular teeth. And it looks pretty cool. This thing's coming out of its mouth, and he attacks his owner. And then that's the end of it. We never see Davey again. That was a bummer, missed opportunity. And I couldn't help but notice like all the different animal noises they were using for the dog. It sounded like a jaguar or some kind of cat, big cat, and like a monkey at one point. They were just using all kinds of different animal sounds. Another moment that made me laugh is after the gym gets attacked, the trainer dude, who's Tony the Pimp from part 1, the same actor, he's playing this trainer now, they run to escape, and just like in part 1, they can't escape because the windows are all barred and they can't get out. So he tries to break the window with a barbell. Like a 45, 50-pound metal barbell. He throws it at the window. He's hitting it again and again. That doesn't work. So what does he do? He goes over. He picks up like a flower pot, like a very small flower pot, and throws it at the window. Like, damn, that didn't work either. And then right after this, they're chased to the parking garage, and we have 2 hilarious back-to-back of voices from these 2 different characters. Like the dubbing is hilarious. The one guy, his voice sounds like a nerd. Like it's kind of high-pitched and weird sounding. I wish I wrote the line down so I could quote it with his voice, but he sounded very weird, and it's like, it's 2 buff dudes. So I guess he's been taking a lot of steroids, and now his balls are shrunken, and he talks very weird, and
I don't know, I gotta get something else there, carry on.
Hit this!
And then the second guy, his voice sounded like a fucking moron. Like, I don't know what to do. He picks up like a fire extinguisher, and Tony the Pimp, I'm just going to keep calling him that because I don't know his name. But he's like, just fucking figure out how to do it. And he's like, read the instructions. And then he's like, remove the pin. Like, I'm not exaggerating. That's how he said it. I think he even said duh. Like, remove the pin.
What are you doing?
Hey, how the hell you use this thing?
You read the instructions.
Remove the pin.
Like, you don't know how to fucking work a fire extinguisher? You're pulling pins out of weight equipment every day. You jacked motherfucker. You don't know how to pull the pin out of the fire extinguisher? Then the kid's walking around on his own because his parents are dumbasses. And so he hears a phone ringing, even though they've already established that all the power's out. You know, that's why the elevator's not working and those two people are trapped in there. All the phones are not working downstairs, but for some reason now this phone upstairs is working and ringing. Like, how's that possible? Then the kid goes in like the air vent, just like in part one, and then the blood starts dripping from above on him, but it doesn't burn through him, so why is that? And where was the blood coming from? A demon or a dead body? And, you know, we don't really see what happens after that. It just cuts away, and then later on we see that the kid did turn into a demon. And then for some reason, the kid, as he's attacking the pregnant lady, the demon baby comes out of him. Like, it's just so random, just like in part one. It's out of nowhere, but it was awesome in that one. And this one is a much lesser version. It's less cool. It's goofy. I don't like the look of it. It's screeching, and it's so terrible. We get kind of a cool elevator scene here. The guy's reaching through the door, and so they go through the hatch, and they're climbing the cables, which aren't those really sharp? Like that. He does have things wrapped around his hands, so I guess that's smart. So he's climbing up, and then the other chick turns into a demon, and he kicks her down. She falls through the top of the elevator and dies. And, you know, it's ironic that her character was like, you know, afraid of elevators. She said like something that was kind of foreshadowing her death later on, like, the elevators will be the death of me, or something like that. And, you know, I'm scared to death of elevators. And then she ends up dying in one later on. Probably my favorite shot in this movie is the rotating shot of the staircase looking up the stairs, and you can just see the demons all coming down. They keep poking their head over the ledge, looking down, their glowing eyes. The camera's just like rotating or spinning. That was probably the best shot in the film. Then we get this big like action sequence, all kinds of chaos and car stunts and stuff in the parking garage, and this is where so much more carnage could have been inserted, but they pulled back on that, and we saw almost nothing in this. You know, anytime someone was about to get killed, it just cut away, and, you know, Argento's daughter's in the car. She never really gets killed, I don't think. And poor Tony the Pimp gets his balls squeezed. Then there's a sequence that I just thought was unnecessary. Like, this guy's plan didn't make a whole lot of sense. They're like 30 stories up. All the demons they can hear down at the bottom ground level. And they're trying to get to the roof. So all they have to do is just go up. And all the demons are way down. And he's like, I'm going to buy us some more time, so I got to get the gas hose and, you know, fill the stairway with gas, and then I'll throw my lighter and blow some of them up. And it's like, what's the point? Just go up. Why was all that necessary? Meanwhile, the wife is in labor, so I guess she's like 9 months pregnant. She's about to give birth, and the whole movie, I thought she was like in her second trimester. She doesn't look that pregnant, but they get off the roof, they climb down, they throw that one chick off the roof, and it looks like a dummy falling, and they get to the TV station next door, and at first you thought it was going to be like the movie theater from part one. I thought that would have been cool, just to tie it to that film, you know, if they like teleported to that location, or if it was just right there next to them the whole time. But no, it's just a TV station, and she gives birth to a normal looking kid, so that was surprising. I thought it was going to be like a demon baby, but it wasn't. And then Sally, the main demon, she gets there, and for some reason she's blind. I don't understand how that happened and why. And then she just drops dead. And then she's like reappearing on the TV screens, and he goes and like breaks a lot of them, but there's still other screens left that she could appear on. You know, he doesn't break every television set, so none of it made sense at all. And then they just walk out and survive, and that's the end of it. We don't get like what we got in part one, a shot of like the whole city got fucked up, and nothing like that, you know? So they don't even give the subplot of these dudes driving around any reason to exist in the movie, like they tried to at least a little bit in part one. You know, in part one, the people that drove there, they let the one dude out, which caused all that trouble. And this one, they never even really get into the apartment. They crash right outside. So, and we never see them again. But yeah, I just thought this movie could have ended on something better. You could have showed that the baby was a demon or something, but I guess that would be too predictable. You could have showed that the city was getting attacked, but they just wanted to have a happy ending this time, I guess. But to me, it needed something darker at the end. So those are my thoughts on Demons 2. What did you think about this sequel? Let me know in the comments below. Do you like it more than part 1? Is it your favorite Bava film? Let me know. And as always, if you like what you've seen here, you can hit this like button and become a subscriber today just by clicking on my cartoon face in about 5 seconds. And remember, it's all an opinion. You don't need to get butthurt about it.